Okay, we'll open the Board of Sewer Commissioners meeting, June 27th at 6 p.m. The agenda approval of the minutes, we don't have any mail, the chief operator's report. So, we get a motion on the minutes, approval of the agenda,
Motion.
Second.
all in favor? Approval of the minutes, 5/23/13, we don't have a quorum for that, says here, right?
At table.
At this table.
You have to make a motion.
Well,
on the
that was
table.
that special
There's no
meeting?
quorum. Okay.
That was
It was a special meeting, right?
No, it's a regular meeting, we just don't have a quorum, so they have to be tabled until there is a quorum.
I realize that.
No, it was a regular meeting.
Who was at the last meeting? Who was missing?
Steve and Dale was missing, and let me see, Steve was here, Mike was here, and Rich was here. So Steve isn't here, and that is the reason why we cannot approve him.
Okay, then, well, we'll set that aside for another time. So I guess we'll move right down to the chief operator's report.
Okay. All required reports are complete and sent to the state. As we were changing some bulbs in one of the modules and bank one being located in the UV building, we noticed that some of the bulb sockets were actually melted. So I contacted the manufacturer, got my hands on a breakdown schematic of the module, ordered the parts, and Carl and Jeff took apart the module and fixed it. We fixed the sockets that were damaged. So we were able to save a bit of money by doing that ourselves. The rags in the septic dump station were building up. We set up the portable pump, pumped the effluent from the UV channel into the holding tank, so the rags would actually rise to the top, and then skim them off. Got that area, and it's a little laborious, but it's worth it, because if we don't do that, they end up in the downstairs gallery pumps, and then that's more of an effort to rip those apart to clean them, which we have to do occasionally anyway. But I received an alert for the decanters at 5:30 p.m. on the 13th. We drove to the plant, we checked all the electrical systems, made sure the decanters were working properly. I think it's just an odd electrical event. We've had quite a few of those over the past month. And Carl and Jeff have been working on fabricating an anvil and work table using some scrap metal. And we also skimmed the rags on top of the wet well at MP4, which is our main ball field pump station, and we do that twice a year. Another electrical odd situation, I received dual pump station alarms around 1:30 a.m. on the morning of the 11th, and at PC1 there was a pump fail alarm, at PC3 there was a low wet well flow alarm, and it was an early morning heavy rain and a lightning event. So that's why I suspect the stations received the charge electricity. At PC1 the motor could only be reset by actually powering down the breaker on the motor control panel, and at PC3 the wet well transducer was bouncing all over the place. It was just ruined. We had a spare. We installed that with no problems. And I sent this back to the manufacturer because we paid a little bit more to get lightning coverage on those transducers. So I think I might be able to get it replaced for free. And they're about $1,000, so that would be wonderful. On Sunday the 20th, this last Sunday, we actually worked through 3 issues in the system. Grinder Station 6 was alarming. The pumps at PC1 were running way longer than usual. I mean, usually they run 30 minutes each. I came in Sunday morning, they ran 4 hours and 30 minutes each. So that needed to be addressed immediately. And PB2 had one pump running 3 times longer than the other. So at GP6, the start float was stuck on some rags. At PC1, I've never seen this before, there was a plastic T-set toy stuck in the check valve when we took the line apart. So what was happening is the pumps would pump everything out to the force main and everything would come back. And they'd pump everything out to the, and then everything would come back. So it was
close.
just going back and forth. It would not close. It just was stuck open. Apparently some little boy got mad at his sister and flushed a little plastic T-set. So we fixed that. And at PB2, we found what looks like a dead cat, and it's rags. But anyway, that's what we pulled out of the discharge check on Sunday. PB2 alarm at 3:15 a.m. and the 26th. And believe it or not, there was another cigarette butt stuck in the suction flapper, same station. So everybody up on that hill, please stop flushing your cigarette butts. Northwest Hill, no flushing of the cigarette butts. It takes a lot of time and effort to take those pipes apart and fix something as silly as a cigarette butt, believe it or not. We had a fallen tree at PC2, cut that up and cleared it. And Jeff donated an old crank, and it looked really bad, and he and Carl reconditioned it for the lift that they fabricated at MP4, and it looks brand new. It just looks so nice. I take a picture of it. I should have taken a before picture because it did not. It looked like it belonged in the dump. The painting on the interior floors of station PC4, we started that, and also at PC4 we pulled another valve rags out of the check valve and put number 2. And then moving on to schedule rates and fees, it's been revised to reflect the new yearly sewer fee change from $4.44 to $4.56. And the board has already approved that change. This is just the document that goes in our master folder of documents stating that that change is actually part of our schedule and rates and fees. So that needs to be approved by the board and signed by the board. And this is the main copy on that. That's the only change on that. I just need a motion. You have to make a motion to approve that. Gotcha.
Need a motion to this rate change.
Make a motion if we sign the rate change.
Second? Need a second?
Oh, I thought you said second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, billing periods. We revised this document. We had to address an issue that had arisen regarding when the activation change reduction EU should take effect in the billing process, as well as to address the need to include potential future decommissions. We used to make the change to the EU log and the related invoice in the same quarter as the change was made on the system, but we found that this is not going to work during the 3rd month of the quarter because the bills have already gone out to the users. So I changed the effective date of the change to the billing period so it would be following the quarter in which the change actually happens. And I even included an example on the revised wastewater billing periods and billing policy. Like a new connection was made on August 3rd. The 1st quarter bill will go out based on the billing period that this date falls within. So in this example, the date falls in the 1st billing period. Therefore, the new bill will be activated in the 2nd billing period. And that's going to make it easier in all of our offices to sort of be on the same page when we're making changes to the EU log that affects all the offices the 1st month of every quarter. So again, I just need I have the original here, I just need a motion and signature of all you guys on that one.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And from review of the EU log to conversations with local residents, we discovered 2 more EUs that needed to be added to the system. These were 2 that were initially overlooked by the engineers. They just were not recorded on the initial EU log as the EUs went online. And with the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that they did, I'm sure that was about to happen. I just suggest we simply acknowledge them, move forward as we did. I think it was one private property in the past. And I drafted a couple of letters just letting the homeowners know that they had been overlooked and that the charge will now apply as of the July 1st billing cycle, which the first bill will be due September 30th, 2013. And I have originals here.
And that's what we've done in the past.
We did one in the past, right? Remember there was one previous to this that you did, so we're handling these the same way we handled those.
So I need a motion for that.
Motions.
Second?
Second.
And the last thing I have is the O&M budget adjustments. We do them every year. Ellen and I have been working together on these. They feel they address our current budgetary needs. They're important because these adjustments will help draft and set future budgets as they reflect actual expenditures. And you all have a copy of that. There's no change in the bottom line of the budget. It's just taking money from underspent budget line items and adding them to overspent line items. And total is 17,600. We're just moving the money around, which the professional auditors like to see done at the end of the year. And it helps us, so something we do every year. I would just need a motion to send this to Ellen for actual incorporation into her software program.
I'll make a motion that you send that to Ellen to incorporate that in your software program.
Thank you.
Just before, everything's been checked on this, and
Me and Ellen have been back and forth, yes, with this.
good enough for me. I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, that's all.
And that's all I have.
I have one question.
Okay.
We signed the paper for
The letters.
the Governor Dino,
Mm-hmm.
but not one for the other one.
For Schneider, yes, there's two.
Is
There's
it coming
two.
around?
There's two originals.
Yeah,
that are
all
coming.
right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, both.
There's two papers.
High water, any high water issues recently?
We have been hovering right around 100,000 gallons.
No dam.
Not good. And like before, it's consistent from all areas around town. It's not localized to one area, so.
The biggest issue is still debris, right?
Yeah, you know,
Lots and so
I think that every facility, we fight this.
Oh, I imagine you do. You
Yeah.
gotta keep reminding people that
Me
you
too.
can't have to throw everything down the toilet.
Yes, it's not a garbage, and people complain about costs, just remember, every time you flush something, and we're out there on a Sunday afternoon for 4 hours fixing it, that's.
It's an expense.
That's right, so just be careful what you're flushing once again.
Like the septic system, you wouldn't be doing
But at the end of the day, it's still their dime, because they're going to
Yeah.
pay for it to be fixed one way or another, so.
Anything else?
No.
Motion to adjourn?
Nothing else.
We just had a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 it.
Darcy?